We're going to start by talking about naval secondary guns historically because we're dealing with a powerful secondaries on new Michelangelo cruiser. Sit back and I'll tell you about the new ship in the Blitz. Secondary armaments are smaller, faster-firing weapons that are typically effective at a shorter range than the main, heavy weapons on military systems, including battleship and cruiser-type warships. The nature, disposition, size, and purpose of naval secondary weapon systems changed dramatically as the threat changed from torpedo boats to torpedo-carrying destroyers to aircraft to anti-ship missiles. These weapons also gained lethality with the advent of quick-firing mechanisms, allowing them to pump out multiple rounds a minute. That steadily improved as time went on. High-angle weapons could not be mounted in casemates. Thus, they migrated to small turrets mounted on the upper deck. In order to hit a fast-moving air target, a high rate of fire was required. Thus, secondary guns reverted slightly to the 5-inch from 6-inch size. Secondary batteries were used during shore bombardment missions and during close-range night surface actions like the Second Naval Battle of Guadalcanal. The potential for what in modern terms might be called a mission kill was significant, to the point where the quick-fire armament was sometimes considered the true main armament of a battleship. Michelangelo, sketched but unrealized project for a warship. After the Marine Nationale announced the Dunkirk, and in the context of the still-going discussions on a possible international naval agreement, Regia Marina started a study on what was defined as a medium-displacement battleship, 26,500 tons, 305 or 320 millimeters as main guns, 130 or 140 millimeters as secondaries, and 147 as AA, 30K. Steam or mixed steam diesel, possibly 100,000 HP, and 1 or 2 funnels according to the needs. One proposed ship, the Admiral DeFeo's one, with 2 quadruples amidship, explicitly called for diesel-only engines. Here is the Tier 9 Michelangelo cruiser, a completely unique ship. To be honest, Italian Brawler warships always excite me, because there are not many of them. We are facing a nice ship that is quite different with its turret layout and features. This ship can be used with war paint unique camouflage or historical camouflage. The war paint camouflage gives more torpedo range, while the historical camouflage gives auto-secondary battery firing range. Both are good additions, but I would prefer a bit more torpedo range. 2 pieces of level 2. Sonar is not a skill we are used to seeing on Italian ships. It is quite useful, of course. Here you can find my Michelangelo setup. Because of the relatively high reload time, and because you want a setup that uses the secondaries intensively, I choose secondary battery modification 1 in the first slot. In the other slots, I continue with the standard cruiser setup. Angelo Iachino is one of the ideal commanders to use with Michelangelo. Not only both of them are Angelos, but also it fits well with the ship. And you can choose Honor Seeker instead of Underwater Protection, but an important point here is that I choose Adrenaline Rush Plus, not additional smoke support as a level 8 skill. Of course, you can increase the duration of fuel smoke, but I don't want to give up the contribution of Adrenaline Rush in my last moments, especially for this ship. For the other special commanders, I've prepared you this. There is no accurate ship to compare Michelangelo with in Tier 9. But when we compare it with the Admiral Schröder, an elite brawler, we get the following data. This should not mislead you, but only give you an idea, because they are 2 ships with different characteristics. Michelangelo has almost nothing in common with the Italian Venezia technology tree in terms of playstyle. The Italian cruiser technology line has the Brindisi cruiser for Tier 9. This vessel is not an alternative to the Brindisi. As we quickly examine the ship, we notice more commonalities with the Tier 10 Napoli, even they are not the same tier. But of course, this is not a Napoli variant. But those who love the cruiser Napoli play style can quickly find what they want on this ship. Of course, there's no SAP on Napoli main guns. And I found Michelangelo guns more accurate than Napoli. Even she is Tier 9. Michelangelo hits harder with a better citadel damage rate. Michelangelo has better acceleration and better maneuverability and higher secondary range than Napoli. But these two ships have a very different gun layout. This makes significant change in positioning. By the way, Michelangelo's main turrets can rotate 360 degrees, but her secondaries cannot. And Napoli has better concealment that we world miss on Michelangelo. The reason I compared Michelangelo to Giuseppe Verdi was to show the secondary batteries, because Verdi is a battleship and Michelangelo is a cruiser, so they are not ship types that we can evaluate in the same category. Although their reload times are different, Michelangelo has a longer range. The damage and caliber are the same, so it is quite satisfactory for a cruiser.
See them, turtles?
Michelangelo is fun to play with, especially if the opposing team has a large number of destroyers. She is very good at picking them off one by one. I think she has the features and power that will not cause problems in Tier 10 matches. At least I didn't have. She has a firepower that can wipe more than 60% health points of a T10 destroyer in a salvo with the main gun and secondaries.
Ooh, penetration!
As I mentioned before, maneuvering and acceleration are good. I didn't go into the area here because I wanted to test the Michelangelo in a Tier 10 destroyer cleanup mission. And also, we don't prefer to cap Area B in this map at the beginning of the match. But since my teammate spotted the destroyers, I've decided to deal with them.
Penetration! Penetration!
In the games I played with the Michelangelo, I realized that if I choose a sniper-style game from far away, I cannot be very effective, and I cannot get a good damage and help to my teammates. However, this ship is very good at capturing areas with a push at the right time or fending off enemy team ships from the area.
Confirmed penetration.
It is necessary to be careful like any cruiser against battleships in its tier. The important thing here is to deliver torpedoes to the enemy battleship. There may be some criticism about the penetration of secondary guns' SAP shells. However, by bringing SAP shells to the bow and stern of battleships as much as possible, both good and bad unexpected results can be achieved.
Confirmed penetration. Enemy is hit. See them, turtles? Nice work! Woo! Penetration! Penetration! Woo! Penetration! Wilco! Turtles, I need fire. Enemy is hit. Turtles, I need fire support. Penetration. Penetration. Woo! Penetration. Penetration! Penetration! Enemy is hit! Confirmed penetration! Penetration! Enemy is hit! I can see them, turtles!
I play ranked battles whenever I can. I used to play a lot more. You know, ranked battles mode is usually played in Tier 9, although it has increased in Tier 8 last year. Ranked battles is a solo Blitz battle mode where you can increase your skill in the game, and I recommend it to all players who want to improve themselves. I tried the Michelangelo in ranked battles for a bit, and I can say that it is a cruiser with enough power to carry the team. By the way, Michelangelo's anti-aircraft power has no deterrence on the enemy CV, but she is quite fast and skillful in capturing areas and eliminating rival destroyers and light cruisers in now CV matches.
Woo! Penetration! Penetration! Enemy is hit! Penetration! Penetration! Woo! Penetration! Confirmed penetration! Hit.
As a result, Michelangelo is a unique, original, and enjoyable cruiser. She has a different approach in terms of playstyle, and there is no such cruiser in Italian ships in Tier 9. However, it is a ship that requires above-average cruiser playing ability and good positioning. I wish that Michelangelo was Tier 10, but not a big deal. As a player who plays in ranked battles, Michelangelo can find a good place for himself. However, the ship requires and deserves a good commander to boost some of its features. I gave you some options in this regard in the previous parts of the content.
Woo! Penetration! Penetration!
Michelangelo is not a cruiser that you can farm from behind the island. I think you should focus on ambush skills. You should not hesitate to enter lava environments with Michelangelo when necessary. The number of smoke can be increased by 1 with the commander. I pushed Michelangelo to its limits in the games and played in an aggressive style, so you can see your expectations from the ship better. I focused more on the ship's capabilities, not on damage. Therefore, the footage you will watch has a pushing approach rather than a cautious one. Tell us how you found the ship in the comments. See you next time.
Penetration! Let's do some serious damage! see them, turtles! I can see them, turtles! Woo! Penetration! Confirmed penetration! Penetration! Enemy is hit! Woo! Penetration! Penetration! Turtles fight with honor. I can see them, turtles! Confirmed penetration! see them, turtles! Confirmed penetration! Enemy is hit! I can see them, turtles! Penetration! Woo! Penetration! Enemy is hit! Confirmed penetration! 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 If they don't get away, they're turtle toe jam!